Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of AAE board member and director of professional development, Neil Otto, it's my pleasure to welcome you to another webinar hosted by the American Association for Employment and Education. Today's topic is what to change immediately to recruit and retain diverse candidates. My name is Tim Dubert and I serve as AAE's executive director. Please allow me to cover just a few housekeeping matters before we begin with today's topic. During the webinar, all attendees will be muted by default. However, today's settings will allow you to activate, apologies. However, you'll be able to use Q&A and chat. Please, when using chat, please switch the default to all presenters and attendees to maximize participation. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available to all attendees and AAE members. If your organization is not a current member of AAE, please visit our website, aaee.org, to learn more about our activities and resources. We are a professional association intent on positively impacting education through professional connections. Related to that mission, we connect the three critical groups involved with the preparation, recruitment, and retention of pre-K through 12 educators, that being university professionals and others who prepare educators, school system professionals and others who recruit, hire, and retain them, and of course, educator candidates themselves. We offer annual publications such as the Job Search Handbook for Educators. We conduct an educator supply and demand survey each fall and winter, resulting in a spring report. In fact, that survey launches this week. We co-host the careersforeducators.com job board with Kappa Delta Pi. We host webinars such as this one on topics relevant to our membership. We sponsor teacher scholarships and school system mini grants to support teacher pipelines. We host teacher job fairs, both in person and virtual. We co-host a national working group on teacher retention with Upbeat. And we host an annual conference and education career fair each fall, our next event being held in Louisville, Kentucky from October 26th through October 28th, just 6 weeks from today. I am pleased to welcome Felicia Norwood and Toy Tanton to present what to change immediately to recruit and retain diverse candidates. Felicia serves as Supervisor of Recruitment and Retention for Prince William County Public Schools in Virginia, while Toy serves as the district's Administrative Coordinator of Recruitment and Retention. At the end of today's session, you will leave with strategies to recruit and retain diverse candidates, including utilizing out-of-the-box marketing tactics that attract world-class candidates for your instructional positions, focusing on economical ways to attract candidates via social media, customized bus tours, targeted job fairs, branding and school visits, building relationships with high school students and student teachers to increase your applicant pool, retaining diverse employees with specialized programs, and creating partnerships with HBCUs to increase your pool of applicants. Thanks for joining us today, Felicia and Toy. I'll now turn it over to you. Oh, Felicia, you're on mute.
All right, here we go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Again, my name is Felicia Norwood, and I'm the Supervisor of Recruitment and Specialty Programs. And I have Ms. Toy Tanton here with me as well. She's the Administrative Coordinator for Recruitment and Retention.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So I'm going to start with a little bit of history in regards to our recruitment and retention, a little bit about Prince William County Schools. We are in Prince William County in Manassas, Virginia. We are the second largest division in the state of Virginia, just under Fairfax Public Schools. We have over 10,000 employees and over 6,000 teachers. Typically on a teacher a year, we hire close to 800 teachers a year. So we are in the thick of it right now, like I'm sure the rest of you are in regards to your vacancies. But last year during COVID, we hired a total, which was a lot less than what we normally do, of 555 new teachers, which are new instructional personnel. And out of those teachers, 29.5% were diverse. And this year, we don't have the diversity data until the end of the month. However, so far, we've already hired 782 teachers. this year. Next slide. As you can see here, this is our demographic data from September 30th of 2020. And it goes by administrators, classified instructional personnel, support professionals, and teacher assistants. And you can see right there where our what our data looks like in regards to those different job demographics. Next page. So every year we report to our school board an increase of minority employees relative to our community. So our school board likes to see if our community has 60%, is 60% diverse, then where are we in regards to recruitment, and how does our staff emulate what our community is and what our student body represents. So the next chart is going to show that as our community becomes more diverse, our hiring of minority employees continues to increase. So you can go to the next slide. If you can, this takes us back to 2016 to 2020. As you can see, it has percentage of minority employees, and that goes from 2016 was 32.9, and now in 4 years later, we're at 36.2. Now, Ms. Tan and I did not begin until 2018. So our data goes from 34.3 to almost 2 points up, 36.2. And as you can see, the minorities in our community is about 62%. So we're about 58%, a little bit above 50% of what our community looks like to what our school division looks like. And I will tell you, for the last, well, you can't count the COVID year, but it's been tough going to try to keep increasing that each year. You can go next slide. So overall, 29.5% of our newly hired certified staff in Prince William were minority for 2020 school year. And I just kind of broke it down to what that percentage looked like. In Virginia, in the state, it's 19.5%. And nationally, it's about 20%. So we're above our state and above that in the nation. And as far as our state and our region, Prince William County Schools is the second highest in diversity in Northern Virginia, only to Alexandria, which is in our region. So we're broken up into regions throughout the state, but we are number 21 in the state of Virginia over the 132 counties. So we're really proud about that, because it's been a struggle and really been intentional in our hiring and some of the things that we're doing and the relationships that we're building in order for us to get there. We had no idea that we were second in our region, and we have some pretty big school divisions in our region. Loudoun County, Fairfax, us, you have Stafford, Spotsy. I mean, there's some other ones in Northern Virginia. We were shocked that we were second highest. So that was great news this year. So thanks. So how does Prince William County recruit for diversity? So we do several different things. We utilize out-of-the-box marketing tactics and partnerships to increase our diversity numbers. Of course, we do social media, and we're a school district, so we don't have a ton of money, even though we're the second largest. Recruitment gets a very little bit of it to do a whole lot. And I'm sure a lot of you can agree with that. Growing our own teachers program. We have a company that we work with, which is called Participate Learning, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And the most important thing is retaining. If we retain our diverse employees, then you don't have to worry about recruiting them. So we're really focusing on retention. I would say when we first got here, we just didn't know we knew about recruiting, and we came from different areas for it, but it was just putting it all together. So I think now we have a better understanding. We're able to really focus on retention as well. Just a little background, both Ms. Tan and I are from the school. So I was a previous principal and she was a previous assistant principal, but she had also worked in college before with recruitment. So we brought all of those skills together to get to where we are today. Next
We
slide, please.
also were teachers in Prince William County. And so we definitely have a very close relationship with the county. We can say that we've not just led the schools, that we've also taught our students. And I know Felicia said that we have a large school division, but she didn't, I don't know if she said 90,000 kids is who we serve.
Oh, no, I
So
didn't.
it's a huge, huge division. All right, so what does that look like when we talk about marketing? We try a lot of things. We do things in our social media, website, all of the publications, magazines, newspapers, things like that. But the thing that when we poll our candidates as to where they learned about our jobs the most is our website. So the biggest thing that we can tell you is make sure that you have your website up to date. And I know that things change in an instant. And even for us, sometimes we will add things to the website and it still has to go through an approval process. But we try to stay on it as fast as possible when we are holding recruitment events or when there are jobs to be posted and things like that, because that is the first place people look. Other than that, we are close. We are in Northern Virginia, and we're near a large mall. So we have taken to even going to sit at the mall to see if we can get some candidates. And it was fruitful, more for our classified staff or non-instructional staff than it was for instructional. We got a couple of bites. We use platforms such as Handshake and Simplicity, Purple Briefcase, different things like that. We use, of course, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. We tried some different initiatives so far as a Tuesday chat, and some of these things we'll get into a little bit more as we're talking. Teacher spotlights, Indeed. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but once you set it up, you can have where Indeed completely takes your jobs, we call it scraping, scrapes your jobs from your website directly onto the Indeed website. So once we post something on the Prince William County website, Indeed will scrape it within 24 hours. So it's posted and it's for free. So in case you didn't know that, that's something. We use something called School Messenger, which is a platform in which we can communicate with our families via email, text message, or phone call. And you can just type it in there, it'll record it and or send it out. You can put links in there, send text messages. So this has been a really good tool for us. We also created within this pandemic a job fair website, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later as well. Nothing like a crisis to make everything go by really fast. All right, so here's an example of, or some examples of things that we had on our social media. We post when we're having upcoming events. So this was an example of a job fair that we have. We just had the link. We all know that as much as we are recruiting the best and the finest, people don't like to read a whole lot of information. So we try to keep it as brief and informative as we possibly can. So with that being said, we try to say everything we can in a bite and take them to where they need to go. So regarding recruitment, we had one of our things, we had a virtual teacher job fair. Then one of the initiatives we have is the teacher referral program. Ms. Norwood is going to talk a little bit more about that further along, but this is one of the initiatives that we're using to help retain our current staff. So this was very beneficial for us. If we had specific jobs that we wanted highlighted, here's an example of one of those that we put up as a post on our social media. And one of our other ways to retain is we have a teacher spotlight. So the teacher spotlight is an initiative where we allowed the teachers to nominate themselves or their colleagues. And this was, the response to this was overwhelming. Our initial intention was to have someone once a week, but I had so many people respond to it. I ended up doing twice a week, and it started, what was it, last fall, and I had them to the last day of school, and they were still just back to back to back to back. And so we asked the simple question: who was the teacher? How long have they been teaching and where they're teaching? And why did they become an educator? And like I said, it took off like wildfire, because we could say we have a diverse staff, but what really helped is when people could see our diverse staff. So this was extremely beneficial. Teachers took a lot of pride. Ms. Norwood and I are very still connected to school. So it was great to see people we knew, but more importantly, we could see them take the post that we had on the school's media pages and put it on their own social media pages. So they got to share with their families and their friends. So it was a big pride issue. It was really good.
And I would go back and just mention that that principals also were wanting to spotlight their teachers as well. And this is a great way for people to see, you know, why people stay. Why do our diverse candidates stay with us and non-diverse candidates stay? Why do they stay here? And they talk about why they love it. And it comes right from them and not us trying to represent it for everybody in the division.
Yeah, because I can say, oh, I love it because of this, I love it because of that. But some of the responses they gave, like I didn't have the characters left in a post to put some of them up. So I'm like, okay, so how can I package this for the upcoming school year so that I can get a snapshot of everything they said? So it was very powerful. I was thankful that we had a chance to, and I'm thankful to Miss Norwood that when I came to her with this idea that she's like, do it. So it was pretty cool, very easy.
During this time where we're struggling for bus drivers and everything, we've been we still have a vacancies, but our runs are great, doing well. Our classified department has taken this as well and started highlighting, just classified positions, because all positions are important in the school division. And so that also helps with the recruitment for those areas as well.
Exactly. One other event that we hosted was bus tours. So now the bus tours is just that. We would have our potential candidates come to our school division and visit. We had elementary day and we had a secondary day. And we've changed that a little bit, but during the elementary day, you would invite candidates in. We would go to 2 elementary schools in the morning, 2 elementary schools in the afternoon, and it gave them a chance to see Prince William County, because we could talk about how big it is, but it's when you are on that bus and you're going to these different places, and they got a big kick out of it. So we tried to take them to our urban, suburban, rural, Title I. We tried to give them a taste of every type of school that we have so they can see where it fits. Because if you have worked in a school, every school has its own personality, right? Like every school division. So it was great to kind of see their eyes. And we did the same thing for secondary, whereas we went to 1 middle school and 1 high school in the morning and 1 middle school and high school in the afternoon. And we did the same thing. We took them, and in the middle of the day, we had lunch and kind of debriefed with them to see where they were. So when COVID hit and we weren't able to do it in person, we did it virtually. And so it went from being the bus tour to a digital day trip. And so same premise, except for instead of going to the different schools, we had breakout rooms, and it was cool. I mean, we always, of course, we're conveners, right? We're educators, so we like to convene, but it was good to be able to still take them on a tour of Prince William County schools, even virtually. So this is a really good idea, and candidates love it because they're like, we get to go to the schools. And we're like, you get to go to the actual schools. We've had marching bands perform, we've had chorus sing, we've had usually the schools put on a show, and by that I mean like they give them swag, they'll take them to the different events. We've gotten a chance to see Google Classroom. I mean, things that I would have to say for ourselves as recruiters, it was good for us to see, because we know what's going on, but we don't know everything that's going on because we have 100 schools and learning centers. So to be able to get a dipstick into those environments was just very cool for us as well.
And I would say we invite everyone to these events. So anyone that we've seen at events, when we go to our different recruiting events, we have a list of all of our events that are coming up. So anyone that can come to the table can register or get it so that they know in advance all these events. We send out, the information to everyone, and especially our HBCUs as well. We try to do it around when everybody's home for Christmas break or winter break, so that there's no reason why they can't come, because it's a free trip. And I think our superintendent has welcomed them, has come in and talked with them. Our associates and staffing supervisors have spoken to them and are actually on the trip with us so that they can tell them a little bit more about, we take the time to talk to them about the application process, answer any questions that they have. So it's a very personal event, and we truly enjoyed it. That's probably one of our highlighted events that we have.
We have a good time. And we're like kids once we get on the bus, we have us a good time. Tuesday Chat is one of our initiatives, and that was kind of like our open roundtable. So what we did was created an event where it was like we formed a Zoom meeting. We had some topics that we wanted to cover, but we kind of just advertised it like meet the Department of Human Resources recruitment team. And it allowed candidates an opportunity to ask us what was on their heart, like their questions. Yes, we had topics that we thought up, like you've applied now what, or interview techniques and skills, or dressing to impress. But we welcomed all questions, and it was very cool to kind of get again that dipstick of, it was no pressure. All they had to do was RSVP and then log into a Zoom. So that was something new that we tried during the pandemic, and it was a fruitful, we planted a lot of seeds during this process, and we've had a lot of things bloom from that. So this was a very good, and it was easy. As you noticed from this particular flyer, we did it midday so people could do it during their lunch break. And we stayed on. Sometimes we were on there 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Sometimes we were on there the whole hour. Sometimes it led to a follow-up phone call. It just depends. So we tried it for anybody who was interested. And this was something that, again, we posted on our website and all of our social media platforms. And we sent it out via school messenger to all of the candidates that we come across when we're recruiting. And by that, I mean, when we go to a recruitment event, probably like yourselves, we come back with all of their resumes, or if we are sent a list of them, and we add them to a large spreadsheet so we can kind of track them to see whether or not they've applied or things like that, so we can follow up with them. So these are some of the things that we've done. All right, so we recognize that this is a webinar, but we want to give you guys a chance. I see some of you are using the chat, and if you want to use the Q&A, that's fine. What type of activities or initiatives is your school division using to recruit teachers? This is your time to share.
We'll just see if someone puts something.
Yeah, we'll give you a couple, about a minute.
Maybe about a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as former school administrators, we know how we're firm on that time. We will not keep you past the time. We know the value of a short meeting. We get it, guys. We get it.
I don't see anything in the chat. You see anything on Tim?
I see one Q&A just popped up.
Oh, okay. Open call interviews. Yeah.
Yep. Open call interviews, grow your own virtual information sessions. So thank you, April, for that feedback. Toy, I love what you said, and it's gonna try to commit it to memory, because it's really, I love the plant. You planted a lot of seeds, and that's I think that's key with today's realities of recruitment. Is you've got to try a lot of different things, and they may work in your community, they may not work in your community, but you've got to try.
Yeah, some germinate, some don't. Some of them we're like, well, we won't do that anymore. And then others you're like, oh, we can expand it to this. So yes, it has been interesting.
Yep, there are a couple.
Someone put something about participate learning, but I'm going to go through that as we go on. But I would definitely say some of these things came out of just desperation in regards to the COVID, because you still had vacancies, you still had to fill them, even though the teachers were virtual for a while. You still had to fill the vacancies. So that Tuesday chat came out of like, how can we meet these people without being at a fair? Because at a fair, you can talk to them, you can walk over to them, and you just can't do that virtually. It's just so, they come to you if they want to, and if they don't, they can't. You don't have to come to your room. But with the Tuesday chats, we were able to say, if you're interested in Prince William at all, this is a great time to just come. Sometimes we had the same people who came time and time again, which is good, because each time they learn something different. But it's important that we had something to touch base. And I know that we're going to continue that this year, because right now in the fall, most of the events are virtual. Yeah. Again.
I see that there are more Q&A. I can't see them because
okay, no problem. So I think again, the one that came in earlier, grow your own virtual information sessions, open call interviews. That was April. And then Cassie said local college university tours, local college / university tours. Laura said letter of intent for our teacher cadet seniors. April gave you guys a shout out for the details on the bus tour. She's been wanting to do one, so she's thankful to know how you go about it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Cassie is asking, or would like to know, she says she'd like to know more about the Spotlight Teacher Initiative. specifically, she's asking, did you send it out as a Google form or a Survey Monkey that they filled out? How was that? What was the logistics?
That's a great question. So we use so we are a Microsoft school. So we use the Microsoft form, and we have an electronic communication that goes out weekly to our staff. It's called the Communicator. And so we just put, and I can send you the blurb about wanting to highlight them. And I just put the link to the form in there. And from there, we went from that. So yeah, it was just a Google, it was not a Google, it was a Microsoft form. They filled it out. And then if they nominated somebody else, they can say, I'm not sure. And I would reach out to the person and say, you've been nominated by a colleague, please answer the following questions and give me a picture. And from that, that's what they did. So it was, I mean, it's, takes a little time to kind of get it organized, but once it was up and going, it was kind of like, I would just set aside time during the week. And with me using, and I'll talk about some of the social media that I use, Hootsuite, you all have probably heard about it. I'm able to post on multiple social media platforms at one time. So I would just schedule a bunch of them at one time, and then I didn't have to worry about it. They would just roll out when they were supposed to. So I would do it like 9 o'clock on Tuesdays and Fridays. So after, and as educators, you get into that routine, you get people looking forward to it. So they knew it was coming. So yeah, I can send that information out. All right, so James Madison, George Mason, and Virginia State University are some of the major universities we get our teachers from. And so alone we can do so little, to get together we can do so much. This is a great quote by Helen Keller that really puts together, it is a vision of how we recruit and work together. So some of our partnerships to increase diversity. So in working with in the recruitment office, we, as you know, we also handle our student teachers and participate. Like there's so much that comes through us. So we have a bunch of partnerships with local colleges, and like yourselves, they sign the memorandum of understanding so that they can be placed in our schools. GMU and JMU are the two biggest universities we get our students from. We are working with the local community colleges though for like field placement. We handle practicum placement and student teacher placements. We have all of those things. The benefits of these partnerships, last year we signed up specifically with GMU and JMU a little extra. It was like you paid a little, and Felicia can probably tell you a little bit more about the partnership itself, but for a fee, we have the opportunity to do some more in their publications on campus, as well as host events on campus with them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. So we, if you look through your universities, you'll see that all the time they have something called like employee partnerships, and all of those are usually corporations like, Microsoft or Amazon and all of these things. And I kept saying, why I don't see any education people on here? So I just called and asked, hey, can we be on here? And they said, oh, sure. And then they gave us a reduced rate because we're, 503c. So it was even less than what the businesses had to do, but it gave us the same access to the students. And I don't know about you, but it seems like for us in Virginia, the access to the student teachers is very limited. They keep them like this, like you can't see them until it's time,
right?
Till the egg has hatched or something. And I said, no, we got to get in there. Before, what we were doing was just going to George Mason, pretty much in their student union, because you can also do that and rent tables in the student unions and sit out there and talk to students all day long, which was great. But this way we can do that. In addition, they give us office hours that we can use, and we can schedule to a class and say, hey, we're going to be here in office hours on your campus this day. We can get them something to eat and have a conversation with them. They give us free advertising in their university student union and in newspaper. We did last year speak to a secondary class about just getting ready for the job fair and things like that. We do mock interviews with students, which sometimes lead into employment. We are part of a college advisory board, so that gets us more input into what's going on. And we get great locations for the job fairs, which is great because if you're way, you want
In
to
the
be right
back, you may
there.
not be seen. Yeah.
And we also have a partnership with George Mason through their professional development schools program. And maybe some other universities may have that where you're located if you're not in Virginia, where they work with specific schools. We're trying to get more Title I, but Title I is included. And the student interns, there's a small fee, but the student interns are able to be there for a whole year. And they're there for a year-long stay. Once they're done with their student teaching, they can sub for you in your principal's building for 45 days. And then we usually hire them within that time. So it's almost like an internship for a teacher. They get a lot of professional development support, and they're paid for the entire year. So they're very committed. They have a small cohorts, but we're getting ready to
Trying
expand
to
it a
grow
little
it
bit
and
more.
extend it.
And grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
currently we have it with our elementary schools. They have a similar program. It's called the SEED program for our middle and high schools, but we're trying to expand everything to just make it more fruitful from everybody else.
And I'm not sure if it's on this page or another one, but where we talk about, yeah, it is, growing our own teachers in special education, but we'll get to that in a few slides down.
So one of the things in working with student teachers, one of the things we host is a student teacher conference, and we host it once a semester. So our fall student teacher conference is in November. And during that time, we get a chance to meet the student teachers, because a lot of what I do with my student teachers happens via email, right? Their universities submit a placement request to me. I interact back and forth with the student teacher to kind of get them to go through the compliance process. And then I reach out to schools to get them placed, and I send them all of that, but that's via email. So then we have the student teacher conference and I get to meet them all. And so we both get to put names and faces together. And during this time together, we usually have a panel where it is teachers and administrators, so they can we talk about their experiences as student teachers, but we also try to give them some more experiences from other experienced teachers and administrators. We have resume support and interview preparation. We have an overview of the application process, and they have an opportunity that evening to be screened for potential jobs. So it is like their own job fair suited specifically for them. And so the only thing that's the only, like, besides going through the compliance process, that's the only thing they're required to do is attend this student teacher conference, which for most of them, they have one for their universities anyway. So this is no different for them.
We feel that one of the best ways to really get your student teachers is early. And so we really encourage our principals to get into the classrooms and really look at them, monitor them. If they want to observe them, we ask them to do that and share their results with us. We also, our school district is site-based. So a principal could say, I want to hire this person. I know I already have a position in the fall. And we can get that done immediately, or a principal can offer and say, hey, I don't have a position, but we want to recommend this person for the division. So we try to do that as soon as possible. I think before COVID, Ms. Tanton was going out to visit the teachers.
We did get to visit some of the schools, yes.
Just so that they know who she was. We brought them like little swag items, try to meet with them to talk to them about just, how they were feeling, how things were going, and just building relationships and planting seeds.
And we did that with our participate students too. So that was good also. Here's a little video. So some of you will be able to relate heavily to this video, okay? We all do, actually.
I don't think the volume's
up. Yeah, Toy, can you pause it for a sec?
Sure.
If you go to down below where it says share screen, if you click the little caret next to it, actually, no, it's the, where would it be for you?
I did go there and I hit share sound, so we might.
Okay, perfect, sorry.
So no, I appreciate it, because I was so excited about being able to share it earlier. Tim and I had a whole commercial that went on earlier today, but we got it together now. Let's see if you can hear it.
And of course, we offer a great benefits package as well.
OMG.
Well, yes, I do think it is a pretty compelling offer as well. But anyway, we're looking for someone who is responsible. Would you consider yourself to be a responsible individual?
AFA ICT.
Excuse me?
AFA ICT. As far as I can tell. You've never heard that before? UG2 BKM.
What?
An M. YWU : /.
GTFO. Hey, thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Thanks. Oh, is that his Twitter feed?
It sure is. You know, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff people put on their social media.
Looks like he tweeted right now that he's using this offer to get a better offer elsewhere. Oh, and that you look like Moby. I see the resemblance.
So Matt, this seems to be going pretty well. Do you have any questions, or can you tell me a little bit about what you're...
Yo, see Riz?
It's my buddy Chris.
No, it's fine. Huh? Total nerd. Anyway, see, listen, this time, let's check IDs. Yeah, no, this will only be a few minutes. Yeah, hey, how's this going?
So Aaron, this has been great. How about if I send you a syllabus so you can see how we do things around
Yeah,
here?
sure, that'd be great. It's hotmail at hotmail.com. That's hotmail at hotmail.com. I work out.
So, let's talk about your experience.
Absolutely. I'm gonna check in first. Ooh. Picture. Say glitter.
Glitter?
Oh. We look so adorable. I'm gonna tag
Let's
you.
get back to the interview if we can.
That is my friend request. You're welcome.
So as you can see, social media has changed the way we do everything. And how many of us can relate to this? um, I haven't had a interview that's been that challenging, but it has been different in the social media world where everything is check-in or they have to have their phones right beside them and things like that. So the question is, how's your school division using your social media to recruit candidates? Because as you can see, they're using it. So in our chat or Q&A, how is your school using social media? And what are some of the challenges you all have with social media?
Someone said, please link that video. We're dealing with a younger generation, and it is very, I'll just give you a very quick snippet while you're in the chat. My daughter is a college student grad, and she just said, you know, I'm gonna do some subbing and everything. And I said, great. And I said, I'm telling her from a principal perspective and a teacher perspective, like, this is what you do for subbing and thing that. And after I went through all of that, she says, well, I'll just Google it. I'll just YouTube it. And I'm thinking, I am telling you the experience, but their mind is going straight there. So we're trying to build bridge together the gaps, the different age gaps to try to hit all the age different ways to reach candidates, because we know that our young people spend a lot of their time, and some of us too, on this. So we really are trying to help bring that together. So I see that there's some things in the chat.
Yeah, and while we are getting those, we also have, like, every now and again we'll have someone who'll say, I applied, I didn't hear anything. Y'all are posting positions, I didn't hear anything. But they don't have a name. Their username isn't anything that I can look up. It's nothing identifiable. So sometimes you're like, okay, I would like to follow up, but I can't. So it kind of puts you in a very precarious situations. But let's hear what some of the things are in the chat.
We have Veronica saying that they hire student interns to help them stay relevant, and thankfully they are very professional, well-trained. Yes, the student teachers are. It's not
Yeah, that's
them.
awesome.
The people we need see generally aren't following our HR division's handle or account. And of course, they said that link the video. Lots of smiles on that.
Okay. Yes. So when I first brought this to Miss Norwood, she was like, I don't know. I was like, they'll get it. They will get it. We've all been in that situation. We're like, okay, all right, this has to stop. We have to go on. We have to go on. So for us, let's look at what our social media look like. As Ms. Norwood mentioned before, she and I didn't start into the department until 2018. And when we did, there was some of our social media had been established, but it hadn't been cultivated. It hadn't been seen. It had been started, but because at that point we weren't in a cycle where we were using it as much, it had gone dormant. So we kind of had to rejuvenate it. And using some of these tactics like the teacher spotlight, putting the vacancies out, geofencing. Geofencing, if you don't know, is when you're talking about shoes at lunch and then you go and look and those shoes are in your news feed, those types of things. But it's basically like creating an area for which you want to advertise using specific information. So I use geofencing on Facebook and Twitter for ads, and I can take a predetermined amount. I usually do about $40, and I usually do it like right around a job fair. And I'll say, I would like $40 over 10 days. And based on that, it'll just, I can pick an area that I'd like to advertise to, and it will put it in the feed of the people in those areas. They either are on our Facebook or LinkedIn, no, Instagram account. I'm sorry, I said Twitter, but it's LinkedIn. So it's Facebook and Twitter. So geofencing is a very strategic way to use your money to get a big bang for your buck, because it'll even tell you about approximately how many people you'll reach during that time. So as you can see, our numbers grew from October 2018 to April 2021. So they've gone up exponentially for our Facebook, Instagram, our LinkedIn account. This is over 10,000 now, and our Twitter. So it's using tools like Buffer or Hootsuite make it a little easier because I can post and it'll go to all 4 of those or any one of those. The challenge would be if there is like a character restriction. It depends on what you want to post, but you kind of get used to it like anything else and you learn how to do that. One of the ways that we grew it outside of the vacancies and the teacher spotlights, geofencing, I follow the teachers. I don't follow them on my personal, but I follow them for PWCS Recruit. I follow because sometimes, and it's gotten to the point now where they're starting to tag us, which is good because based on what it is, I can just retweet it. So they start doing the advertising for us. Or we had someone earlier that I read that was like, such and such is looking for a position, a TA position at this school. All I have to do is repost that. Like this makes it very easy. So it's like seed planting, harvest. Just this a constant cycle. It's just a constant cycle. So we also repost schools and teachers posts. So this is something that we do. I mean, initially I think we were working a little harder and not smarter, but as we got into it more, I think we've made a lot of growth and change during this time. So I was just speaking to you about Hootsuite. We have the professional account for it now. So that allows us to have, I want to say up to like 6 different social media accounts, but we use the main 4 for us. And this allows me to, I can see all of the streams, which means it's like a page of where I've posted, who's tagged us, who's liked us, who's commented on us. And that's not everybody's thing. Sometimes that's visually overwhelming for people. You don't have to look at it that way, but it gives me a one-stop shop. It gives me the analytics as to how different posts are doing and things like that. Sometimes Instagram will say, suggest this post is doing really well. You might want to run an ad. Like I said, for the most part, I don't do that until we're having a fair or something specific, but it just lets us know. So Hootsuite is one thing. I'm sure you can put in the chat if you're using something like Hootsuite or Buffer, or if there's something else that does kind of the same thing, allows you to take a post, a social media post, and put it in more than one place. I'd love to learn more. So always looking for a way to tweak what we do. And then another thing we did in an answer to the pandemic was we designed our own a virtual job fair website. So in attending one of our fabulous trainings, Ms. Norwood, do you remember what conference we were
I
in
think
and you saw this?
it wasn't AAE, but we like, I'm
Sorry, Tim.
sorry, it wasn't, I'm sorry. But we were at another conference and we realized that we needed to quickly maneuver a job fair and change our job fairs from what we used to do because of the fact that it was virtual. And for sake of time, we'll show it, but we won't be able to go through it all. But if you have any questions, you can ask us. But we wound up doing this for free and not paying a company to do it at all. We only, we use Google and Zoom and
Right.
And OneTub. And I think OneTub was the only fee that we had. It was like $100. And we were able to do all of our virtual job fairs through that way. So for like $100, we were able to get
Well,
through.
it ended up, yeah, I was gonna say, you get so many different licenses. So for Mrs. Norwood is being so nice, what she said was, Troy, I went to this seminar and then you have to build this website. And I said, oh, what'd you say there now? Could we talk to the lady about this? Because I know what you're talking
we both went and listened to what she said. And I knew that my technology department, I don't know if your technology department is like ours, but they will do certain things and sometimes it'll just take too long. And so I said, the young lady was from Nashville who did hers similar to ours a little, but ours is a little different. And I said, Ms. Tan, would you please try to mimic this in a way that is easier for us to handle and to use what we had. And this is what she developed, which is great.
So, and again, I can share this with you guys so you can see it, but this was just a way for us to have a whole job fair virtually. And we were able to have it, like Felicia said, using our Zoom, where they could learn some things on their own. And then some things that we had, they were able to schedule for interviews and things like that. So that was a successful thing that we used.
All right, so growing our own, I know a lot of you may have a growing our own program, but I'm just gonna go a little bit into it if you wanna go to the next slide. So growing our own teachers is a big program that we have here. It's currently in 4 of our high schools. We would like it to be in more, was in 5, and now because of COVID, it's gone down to 4. But we do offer the students, everyone that hires, a priority letter, and it tells them that they're able to come back to us. We want them to come back. We have our own, another coordinator in my department who specifically, this is her focus. She does high school visits. Like today, she went to the community college and talked to them, because growing our own, I know we limit it to high school students, but I've read a lot of research recently about it can also be part of college students as well. So for example, our high school students will go to college, and then once they get into college, they have other friends that didn't come to Prince William County Schools. Doesn't mean you can't be part of growing your own, because I can grow you from college to coming right back here, and you can still have some of the benefits of the growing our own program, not necessarily the priority letter, but it could be we're on campus and she's hosting like an informational session. We'll have them in there. They still will get the heads up before anybody else about positions and vacancies and job fairs and events. And we also give scholarships. So last year we gave 2 students $2,500, and another company donated another $2,500 per 2 other students. So they were able to get scholarships to go to college. We will follow those students and track them and have them come back throughout the summer. They can do subbing as a TA, and then once they get their certain amount of credit hours, they can be a teacher sub. So we try to get them some summer work too, and we have summer jobs available as well for them. So we are trying to do a lot more with our Growing Our Own this year, just expanding it a little bit more, being more, really being more strategic about being out there, and also going to the schools to drum up more students to be excited about being educators. We also have a Growing Our Own special education teachers. As you know, there's a national shortage with special education teachers. So we did our first cohort in 2021. The teachers just finished up in August. There were 18 teacher assistants that we had who were degreed, who the county paid for that one special education class that they need in Virginia to be a provisionally licensed in Virginia. So out of the 18 TAs, we paid for all of those classes. There was criteria for them to be a part, and of course we went through George Mason as our partner, and they gave it to us for the really low cost. They had to have a recommendation from their principals. They had to complete a survey of interest. We had to review their performance. And out of the 18 TAs, 12 were hired. 4 were deciding to wait maybe a little bit longer, and 2 decided they didn't want to do it. Now, currently, we have about 31 staff people who are wanting to be a part of our second cohort that is starting this month, and it will end in November, just in time for December to hire for December grads. And we are excited about that. They can start at the end of November, beginning of December. So that's another spin on Growing Our Own, using our own staff to help fill the positions and providing them the supports to do it. And if you get connections with one of your community partners, they can help you with decreasing the cost. So, and this is a great way to retain people. You know, you want them to see that there's other ways for them to go, and avenues to go. If you don't want to be a principal or assistant principal and you're in a building, this is a great way for our classified staff to know that. Our next slide is of just one of our teachers for Growing Our Own, and we won't show that video, but she is one of our teachers that we had that was in Growing Our Own and came back to us. So just for the sake of time, I won't go through that one.
Sorry.
Okay, so Participate. So people asked about that. So Participate Learning is a company that helps us with providing international teachers to our division. There is a cost for it, but the cost is cheaper than hiring a new teacher, because we don't pay for their benefits or anything like that. So every year we get a certain amount of teachers, depending on how many I request. So this year we hired over 48 teachers. We have about 112 total in our division, and they're able to teach elementary ed, ESOL, and Spanish. They're highly qualified. They've been teaching for over 3 to 4 years. They love coming here to teach, and our principals and schools love having them. We have about 46 of our learning centers who have hired Participate teachers and had them, so a little under 50%, but we're still continuing to recruit for them. I will say that they have been a pleasure to have in our buildings, not only for increasing our diversity, but also for exposing our children to various cultures. And that has been wonderful to see. So these are just some of the pictures of our new class this year, and some of our previous teachers who are now their mentors. When they come, they help them with everything as far as housing and making sure they have a license in the US and get a car. The schools are really beneficial too by, helping them with any of their necessities. So we visit them, pre-COVID, we visited them twice a year. We have little events to just connect with them and making sure that they're doing well, so that so principals are not saying, okay, this person is coming, they're not doing well. We stay on top of it. to make sure that they are getting all the professional development, and they also get a mentor, just like our regular new teachers that come in, so that they are successful. So we set them up for success. So retention is one of the best ways to increase your diversity in your district. Everybody knows that. When you look at national data, and you can go to the next slide, you'll see that they say 8% of teachers leave the profession yearly, and another 8 move to other schools. That means on the average, a school will lose like 3 out of every 20 teachers. And what are the causes? Well, some of this is, of course, dissatisfaction with testing and accountability pressures, but a lot of it is lack of administrative support. Some people have dissatisfaction with teaching career and dissatisfaction with their working conditions. Some of these things we can change, some of these things we cannot, but we definitely can change a few of definitely working conditions, why they dissatisfied with teaching in their career. It could be a lot of different things. And that's what we have to try to figure out in order for them to stay. So as we had discussed before, this is our retention rate. As you can see, we're at 8.5% of the people who actually turn over with us, but we're at 91% for total teachers, to not include, if you don't include retired and deceased. If you include all, it's 93.1. So we're doing something right. We would love it to be 100%, but that would help us in recruitment if it was. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we're doing to retain the teachers in recruitment, what we realize is that when we recruit them, they go into the schools, and we lose connection with them because they're already hired, right? Recruiters recruit them, they send them off, and then they go into the schools, and then you kind of lose track of where they are. Well, this year what we're trying to do is bring that together with our Office of Professional Learning and try to do some things continuously throughout the year. So one of the big things we have is we have a grant that we received for the last 2 years for assessment assistance program. And this is through our state, where they will give you a grant to help those who are provisionally licensed to get licensed. It provides you money to provide them tutoring for free. So, and this is a way to retain our diverse teachers, because a lot of our teachers who are provisionally licensed in Prince William happen to be some of our diverse teachers who may not have gone through a particular program or came in an alternative way. So we have a class, we've had 2 cohorts so far of teachers who have taken advantage of this. They do tutoring in their own homes based on the test that they are lacking, and so that they can pass the test. We do a lot of diversity and equity training for not only supervisors, but also for principals. We have a program called Building Leadership Capacity, where if you're interested in being a leader in Prince William, there are a series of classes, and they're free. You can do them at home. They're usually after work time hours, that you can log on and get all the information that you need in order for you to improve yourself and your skills. We have a teacher referral program. So if a teacher refers someone that we hire, we do give them a bonus of $200 that they can use in their classroom, and we provide that through the Office of Recruitment. We already talked about Teacher Spotlight, and this year we did an expansive welcome and onboarding for all staff. And I'm not sure you know, but there's a lot of research out there that talks about how important onboarding is, and this is the missing piece for retention. So you can go to the next slide. I'm going to just kind of talk a little bit about that. Onboarding is the teacher's first impression of your division. So if your onboarding is full of you talking for hours at a time, you are going to lose teachers. One of the things that we did this year, we did a carnival. Everything, all of our paperwork is online. So all the teachers had to do was go online. They can watch their little videos that they have to do to be in compliance and all of those things. But when they came to the welcome that we had in August, it was just fun. And when they walked in, it started with cheerleaders out the side, welcoming them in. They received so much swag. We had vendors, we invited vendors from the community that are necessary for them. So like apartments, Costco, the PW, our Panera was there, IKEA. I mean, just like different food vendors were there. And it was, they just loved it. We had music, a live DJ, we had carnival games. We had vendors who donated things. So people were leaving with baskets that had like $25 Amazon cards and Visa cards and things that new teachers need and new employees need in order for them to be, you know, to get their classrooms in order. We not only invited new teachers this year, but we also invited all new classified employees that were hired, as well as new administrative staff that was hired. So that was great. That was the first time we did that. We also had our superintendent there. She danced, she sang, she gave out raffles, she talked to people. It was a very personable time. And when we did our evaluation after, out of a score from 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 4.9 was our average. And what they said was that it was a lot of fun and it made them feel like they belonged with us. And our tagline is "You belong here." So it was one of the best events that we've had. I do want to show a single clip of this video just so you can see just what it looks like, because if you don't see what it looks like, you're not sure what it is. But we're going to continue to work and do this even bigger and better next year, because now other departments want to be part of it. But most departments were part of the program as well. So today what we're doing is welcoming our wonderful new staff that we hired for the fall of 2021-2022. These are staff that have been handpicked and selected to work with our wonderful students in our facilities and the offices. You got it, you got it. So this year what we decided to do was to have a party. Look here and smile. We have carnival games. Alcona Ice Truck here to give us some ices. We have not only our HR staff here, as well as some other offices within Prince William County Schools, but we also have vendors that maybe our teachers don't know about that are new here to our community, to welcome them to all these things that our community has to offer.
Multiple gift cards in this basket. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of Jennifer Hart.
I thought it was very fun and approachable event. All of the staff were friendly. I got more information about benefits and payroll and health insurance, and I got to meet some really cool teachers as well.
I enjoyed all the games and the good things that I could get from them. I also enjoyed all the information that I was given.
No, it's really great. It's wonderful. My first time in a carnival. So I feel really, really, really nice, and I appreciate everything.
I hope that they know that we really care for them, and the caring begins right now with the onboarding. And then as the year continues, we will continue to welcome them with other opportunities for professional development and other avenues for learning, that they will feel like, yes, Prince William was the place I chose, and I'm so excited to be here. We are so excited to have them, and I hope they left here feeling like I'm part of a great family.
Mrs. Norwood did not add in the part that it rained like cats and dogs, and we had to bring the entire carnival inside.
We didn't need to talk about that.
But I need them to understand the transition. The party didn't stop, Mrs. Norwood. It kept going.
It kept going. But we had 2 shifts because of COVID, we couldn't get everybody in at the same time. So we did a AM time for elementary and a PM time for secondary. Ms. Tan is going to go over, we only have about 2 more slides. We appreciate you hanging in there with us. So Ms. Tan is going to go over just the last 2, and then we'll leave it open for any questions if you have any.
All right. All right, so just some additional recruitment strategies. In addition to having a student teacher conference, we have a Pathways to Licensure event where we invite colleges to come and speak to our community, because this kind of goes out, this is a broad invitation, and they talk about their teacher preparation program. So we invite, I think last year we had like 10 colleges and universities come in addition to our certification staff, and they kind of talked about what it takes to become a teacher. We also talked about if you currently have the following degree in the following programs, you can become a teacher. So that was a really good way for them to kind of get a hands-on, because we have teachers that are waiting, and or people who could be teachers and they don't know that they could be. We use the participate teachers. Every summer we work on our recruitment schedule to include the local university and colleges that offer education programs, HBCUs. We have traveled far and wide. We've even gone out of the country to get our teachers. With our growing our own programs, we've attended, we've done some mock interviews with Virginia State University, and we offer summer employment to our growing our own students. So we have tried the world is our oyster. We've tried everything and we continue to try everything. So we advise that you all do that as well. Make it your own, make it fun. I know we're over by about 6 minutes. Does anybody have any questions for us? All right.
Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, someone said swag ideas. So this year was a lot of different things that we had. For our, we have all kinds of swag.
Hand
We have something
sanitizer.
like this. I've got this on my desk right now, which is awesome.
Gotta put it
It
closer.
looks crazy, but it's a phone. It holds your phone, and so it holds your phone. It'll clean your phone. That's pretty nice. So I use that every day. We've hand sanitizers before we knew that there was going to be this crazy thing. We had got the slim ones that you just put in your purse. We
got the
did
mop type pens. They're the multicultural pens. They come in different colors of people. The mop top is the screen cleaner. The bottom is the stylus. So those went over very well. I don't have one right by me. What else
we
did
have
we
lunch
have?
bags, of
Pop
course. We have
sockets, lunch
umbrellas.
bags, lanyards. Because all of those things are things that they can use every day. They're
Oh, those
advertising, they
little
don't even know
fans
it.
that go in your phone.
The foam fans, yes,
Phone
for
fans.
sure.
We also gave
Water bottles. Yeah.
iPod cases this year.
Yes, we had the AirPod cases. We gave
AirPod
those
cases.
out. We had thumb drives that we gave out. Well, like I said, we tried a little bit of everything. So.
And one of the things we do when we go to a fair, we walk around first. Like we get there, we walk and see what everybody else's swag is. Like, oh, I like that. Oh no, I like that. And then we'll come back and we'll bring, like if they'll give us a sample, we'll take it, and then we'll say, okay, see if this will work. And now we know what works and what doesn't based on when we do all of our job fairs. We put out a table of swag, or when we go to events, we bring it. And if something's flying off the table, I'm like, okay, that's what we need to order. If something is not, then we're like, we can't buy that anymore. So it just depends on where you go and what we're doing, but those are just some of the swag items that we give. Now this, for the welcome, there were other things. There were, we did Bluetooth
speakers. Umbrellas, we did carts, rolly carts, we had markers, we had big hand sanitizers, it was tissue, it was everything that you would need to start a classroom was in those carts.
And we had 6 people that were able to get those huge raffles, because those were like probably over $200 each. And a lot of the vendors gave a lot of gift cards that we put in there as well. But I mean, some of the vendors gave them free meals. They gave them free passes to see performances with their families and friends. So there was so many different things.
It was.
It was well
attended. We had about $3,000 or $4,000 worth of stuff that was given to us to give away. So it was wonderful.
That's awesome. There were a couple of things in the Q&A. Cassie would love to connect to hear more about your onboarding and retention ideas. So maybe you can do an email exchange. Sure. And then Tommy asked, how do you set up your college and university recruitment schedule? How do you plan that out?
So we start early. I usually start sometime right after the first right after the May recruitment season. We have a fair in May, sometimes in July. We've done that too. We try to sit down with, I have an HR specialist, and we sit down and we go through where we went the year before and what was good. And then what was some, if it wasn't good, why wasn't it good? And if there were some things that we can change on that. Last year was an anomaly. We couldn't go anywhere. This year we're going a couple places, but again, a lot of them it's virtual. We also look at the cost. We look at what we spent the year before on the budget for recruiting, and then how much we have to spend this year. Now for us, recruiters our recruiters are our principals. They are our staffing supervisors, and we also provide opportunities for our growing our own teachers who have returned to go to their alma mater to recruit others. They go with their with the principal, and of course the recruitment team goes. And anybody else, like if a principal says I can't go, but can my AP go to get some leadership opportunities, we say absolutely. So we go, we look at where Ms. Tanton talked about earlier, like a tracking system that we keep about where do we get the candidates. So at the end of the year, we'll look at, okay, where did most of our candidates come from? Did they come from the universities that we went to? If it shows that, well, I mean, even at this point now, even one teacher coming is great. I mean, but we'll look and see if they've come from these schools. We can tell like, oh, we have a really good relationship with those schools, so that's why they come. Or we need to really get out to some of these other schools and really work on building relationships with them so that they are comfortable coming here, or what other kind of outreach we can do. So we take all of those things in consideration. We plug them in. We set our dates early so that we can, we don't have space here, so we try to set our fairs early so that those are set up. And like I said, we look at college calendars for our bus tour events. We have to plan those ahead and looking at all of the local colleges and when their winter breaks are. Am I missing anything else, Ms. Tanton?
Nope. Nope.
So it's a big, and then it's the cost. The cost is a big deal too. Sometimes I have to say, no, we cannot go there. We just don't have the money for that based on what we want to do this year. I meet with my team usually every day, but we usually meet once every other week or for some reason or other. And everyone on the team, even like my growing our own person sits on my team with me. My HR specialist sits on the team with me. We all have something to contribute. And we actually just really gel well and can really come up with really creative ideas and how to work our recruitment schedule with minimum funds. Can't tell you, it's a struggle, but we try, and but we do get a lot of support from our principals to go to the events. They value going.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Lots of good stuff here, guys. I know we went over time, but man, you're doing a lot of great things there. And again, Toy, you hit it on the head when you said you're planting a lot of seeds, and some and hopefully most will germinate, but it's not 100% batting average, but that's okay. You gotta try some things. So good for you guys. Fantastic. Want to thank everybody. Let me just make sure. Oh, yep. Just make sure know what our Q&A is coming through. So again, thank you both, Felicia and Toy, for your time. Thank you also to our attendees. I think we're down to a handful at this point, but thank you. And we will hope to see all of you in Louisville next month for our annual conference and education career fair. So thanks again, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks, Felicia and Toy.
Thank
Appreciate you so much. Absolutely.
Thank you for having
Take care.
us.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.